Yes, Maharaj, we can start Kirtan.
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल
हरि बोल हरि बोल।
निताय गौरांग प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि हरि। बोलो जय जय श्री राधे जय श्री राधे जय श्री राधे श्याम। निताय गौरांग भगवान जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये।
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टाप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके
भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी।
भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी।
Welcome everyone in this eternal function of the soul, part of the Bhagavad Dharma, study of Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 17, entitled Mother Parvati Curses Chitraketu. And today we will study text number 34 and 35 with the help of our previous acharyas and Guru Vargas. Text number 34. Tasya chayam mahabhagas chitraketu priyonugaha sarvatra samadrikshanto yavam chaivachyuta priya tasmanna vismaya karya purusheshu mahatmasu mahapurusha bhakteshu shanteshu samadarshishu. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Krishna Prabhupada ki jai. So Lord Shiva is continuing his absolute judgment of Chitraketu Maharaj to his dear wife Parvati. So this magnanimous Chitraketu is a dear devotee of the Lord. He is equal to all living entities and is free from attachment and hatred. Similarly, I am also very dear to Lord Narayana. Therefore, no one should be astonished to see the activities of the most exalted devotees of Narayana, for they are free from attachment and envy. They are always peaceful and they are equal to everyone. Responsibly, please, if possible. This magnanimous Chitraketu
This magnanimous Chitraketu
is a dear devotee of the Lord.
is a dear devotee of the Lord.
He is equal to all living entities
He is equal to all living entities
and is free from attachment and hatred.
and is free from attachment and hatred.
Similarly,
Similarly,
I am also very dear to Lord Narayan.
I am also very dear to Lord Narayan.
Therefore,
Therefore,
no one should be astonished to see the activities
no one should be astonished to see the activities
of the most exalted devotees of Narayana,
of the most exalted devotees of Narayana,
for they are free from attachment and envy.
for they are free from attachment and envy.
They are always peaceful
They are always peaceful
and they are equal to everyone.
and they are equal to everyone.
What a wonderful glory of the pure devotees. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Purport. It is said, Vaishnavere Kriya Mudra Vigyeya na Bujai. One should not be astonished to see the activities of exalted, liberated Vaishnavas, as one should not be misled by the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should also not be misled by the activities of his devotees. Both the Lord and his devotees are liberated. They are on the same platform. The only difference being that the Lord is the master and the devotees are servants. Qualitatively, they are one and the same. In Bhagavad Gita 9.29, the Lord says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priya ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham. Quote, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. From this statement by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is clear that the devotees of the Lord are always extremely dear to him. In effect, Lord Shiva told Parvati, both Chitraketu and I are always very dear to the Supreme Lord. In other words, both he and I are on the same level as servants of the Lord. In other words, both he and I are on the same level as servants of the Lord. We are always friends and sometimes we enjoy joking words between us. When Chitraketu loudly laughed at my behavior, he did so on friendly terms and therefore there was no reason to curse him. Thus Lord Shiva tried to convince his wife Parvati that her cursing of Chitraketu was not very sensible. Wow. Here is a difference between male and female that exists even in the higher statuses of life. In fact, even between Lord Shiva and his wife. Lord Shiva could understand Chitraketu very nicely, but Parvati could not. Thus, even in the higher statuses of life, there is difference between the understanding of a male and that of a female. It may be clearly said that the understanding of a woman is always inferior to the understanding of a man. In the Western countries, there is now agitation to the effect that man and woman should be considered equal. But from this verse, it appears that woman is always less intelligent than men. It only appears. So this is very critical statement. It is clear that Chitraketu wanted to criticize the behavior of his friend Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva was sitting with his wife on his lap. Then too, Lord Shiva wanted to criticize Chitraketu for externally posing as a great devotee but being interested in enjoying with the Vidyadhari women. These were all friendly jokes. There was nothing serious for which Chitraketu should have been cursed by Parvati. Upon hearing the instructions of Lord Shiva, Parvati must have been very much ashamed for cursing Chitraketu to become a demon. Mother Parvati could not appreciate Chitraketu's position and therefore she cursed him. But when she understood the instructions of Lord Shiva, she was ashamed. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swarupa Damodar Swami Niti Namine Namah Sadbhakta Manaye Manipuru Bhavaya Srila Prabhupada Lasat Vani प्रचार निरताय ते नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नाम संकीर्तनम यस्य सर्व पाप प्रणाशनम प्रणामो दुःख शमन तं नमामि हरिं परम। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो। Wonderful instructions by the greatest of Vaishnavas, Lord Shiva, and so many practical things to take for us. That's why we have joined here together to try to appreciate or try to excel our Vaishnavism individually and collectively. Because a pure Vaishnava is described in the character of Lord Shiva, especially. Of course, he is glorifying another pure devotee, one who is fully blessed by the Lord. Pure devotee is fully blessed. That's the. So, because a pure Vaishnava has realized his subordination. How one becomes pure devotee? Because he has realized his subordination, his femaleness, if you want to call it, or straina nature of his swarupa, of his identity in relation to Krishna. And when we think of Krishna, means what? Krishna, the only male. Therefore, he is under the protection of the internal potency of the Lord. This is what we heard in last few shlokas. So this is very clear when one acknowledges and also accepts unconditionally the subordination to the Supreme Krishna, the only male. Then he immediately comes under the protection of Krishna's internal potency and thus becomes freed from the ill effects of duality which are experienced. So many unlimited conflicts, duality in the form of attachment to something, avarice, envy, hatred towards others. And with the perfect understanding that Krishna is the Supreme, in the object of only interest or goal for all of us. This is the vision of a pure devotee. He has no duality. He doesn't have any other vision. He sees everything in unison. That everybody, every living entity, the object of only interest, real interest, ultimate interest, goal for all beings is Krishna. Whereas in the conditioned state, what happens? The living beings are still plagued by the male ego, correct? By the male ego, called the false ego. The male ego means the false ego. Now we'll discuss this in detail. Under the influence of the external energy of the Lord, subjected thus, and this subjects him by the duality of raga and dvesha, hatred and envy for one another, not knowing that they have the common highest interest in Krishna, the unlimited and inexhaustible bliss personification. We aspire, the very purpose of our existence, experiencing, is that we want incessant fulfillment, bliss, anand. That is the only purpose. It forces, that is the only drive which makes the living entity. We are conscious. We want to remain conscious to attain that end, which is still unattained, and that's why we are having unlimited options in the dualities. That's why our this pure soul is the described is without ego, correct? Without false ego, if you want. Because the pure soul is neither a male nor a female. But it has its demeanor. But it's nature, it's nature or disposition. A pure soul is feminine, like female. In his pure ego, is the eternal servant in willing subordination of the Supreme. See? So subordination, the willing subordination gives one this feminine. That's the literal meaning. That is the, when we say the duality of male and female, subordination is feminine, and that is not limited to the male people. No, this feminine, this subordination, acknowledgement of our subordination to Krishna is a necessity of all of us to attain the perfection of our human potential. That's the idea. So, to be very clear, one may wonder, is false ego male or female? This question we can ponder over. Is false ego male or female? So when we say male or female, sometimes they are confused. When we say a male or a female, it's a noun, correct? But when we say male ego, it becomes adjective. Male means masculine, female means feminine. So it doesn't matter whether we are in male body or female body. Our disposition in conditioned state is always masculine. We are plagued by the male ego, but in pure state of our existence, we are feminine, strained nature. That is, so this question should be pondered of false ego. So I must be plagued by male lording over. When we say someone is a male or a female, the word male or female, it denotes a person. It may not denote his nature. And that's why in a conditioned state, everybody is plagued by this male ego, trying to lord it over. But the false ego is male, that we can be very sure. Always, either one may be in a male body or a female body, trying to lord it over each other's body only. We can lord over each other's body only because in misidentification. But the pure ego is always feminine, is an adjective. So see, sometimes the noun and adjective get mixed up, but independence is its nature. So how we come out of it? That is the whole purpose of this Bhagavad culture tradition. How to come out of it. So the scriptures, here the Srimad Bhagavatam, it focuses in the purport. Srila Prabhupada specifically takes the point in the Western world here to face this male-female, this duality issue, as it was big conflict, and Srila Prabhupada so masterfully addressed this from spiritual point of view. Yeah? So here there is an apparent most tremendous, it's a very big issue, it's a most tremendous, but apparent contradiction or paradox concerning the inferiority of the fair sex, correct? But when we say, but is it really so? Because when something is so much emphasized, apparent means is it appears in form, and that is very prominent in the material atmosphere. Whatever we create, whatever image we create of things, depending on who controls. Then, reality means the eternal. From the reality point of view, we cannot say that impurity of the pair sex, because just think of from practical point of view. In colloquial or conventional language, we call the women are called the better half of men. Have you ever heard the man is the better half of woman? Why? Why this is a question practical, because if we ponder over the engrossment of our material conditioning, but certain things, they just come out. Just think. We call common men, correct? Common men. Do we ever call common women? So when we say common men, we call it, we really mean the humankind, which includes both male and female. But colloquially, conventionally, we say common men. Why? Because women are not common. They are anything but common. They have a very special, unique features, unique things in women. They have to be acknowledged. They have to be identified. They have to be recognized by everyone. How unique they are. They are not. There is a party, correct, in Delhi, Aam Aadmi. Why not Aam Aurat? Because women are not Aam. They are not ordinary. They are anything but ordinary. They have very special. They are a complete creation, if you want to say, because the life continues through them. That's why they are not called Aam. This is very much specifically mentioned or exposed by Krishna, the supreme authority. In Bhagavad Gita, if you see in the Vibhuti Yoga, Krishna says, Kirti Shrivakcha Narinam Smritir Medha Dhiti Kshama. See the glorious position, all the wonderful, glorious opulence. She is the representative, the female. So we cannot overlook this reality of isn't it amazing? Actually, they represent the essential aspect of human existence. It's the vibhuti of the Supreme. In Vibhuti Yoga, if you see, when the representation is there are different persons representing Krishna's different opulences, but individually. But here, sevenfold representation by the ladies. Can you imagine? Kirti, Shri. Kirti means the fame. Shri means the beauty or opulence. Vak means the speech, power of speech, knowledge. Smriti, the memory. Medha. Medha means the capacity to assimilate many things to know. Dhriti. Dhriti here literally means the steadfastness or the patience. And Kshama, the capacity to forgive. Dhriti and Kshama, they are very much went together. We can find in the characters of ideal women in Vedic culture. Just think of the kind of Dhriti or the steadfastness and the capacity to forgive. It's tremendous. These are the glories, opulence of the Supreme represented by them. And they are not limited to this female body. They are inherent in all of us. So we have the feminine aspect in our existence and also the male aspect, which wants to assert as the Lord. But intrinsic, our nature is feminine. If we appreciate this, then we attain we move towards the perfection of our human potential. But when the separation is on the mental side or just on the appearance, then it creates a big duality, big problem in this sense. So sevenfold representation by the ladies, because just think of they give birth to life, isn't it? So they are definitely more powerful. Means one who gives to a new life. Think of their capacity and all these wonderful things. And that's why in our scriptures we describe it. Those who in the societies where the ladies are honored or worshipped, and all the divinity blossoms. Yatra naryastu pujyante na ramante tatra devataha. Yatra tastu na pujyante sarvas tatra aphala kriyaha. This is from Manusmriti. Very beautiful injunction for us to notice. They are magnifying or highlighting the nature which is inbuilt, inherent in all of us. This is the nature of the soul, and we are trapped by the external duality of male and female. So, but especially in our Vedic culture, the ladies are trained to act, because when there is already so much duality, there's a conflict of interest, male and female. Ladies are asked to just honor your man or honor your husband like this. But everyone is supposed to honor the women. So where women are honored, divinity blossoms. Wow. In the form of virtuous qualities, prosperity, or lasting prosperity, for heavenly enjoyment, even if one is interested in enjoyment, and best of progeny. And where even women, and wherever women are dishonored, all action, no matter how noble, maybe remains untruthful. So this dichotomy or duality, the separation of this from this ideal, or removal from this ideal, Srila Prabhupada observed in the Western country. That's why in the purport he demonstrates that women are struggling, that they want to be equal, they try to be equal. That means that they are not equal. Rather, they are superior, they are better, they are more powerful. Not knowing their speciality or uniqueness, they try to compete with male. And this is where they are at disadvantage. They must focus, they must realize the unique position, uniqueness of their existence. And if they stick to their true value, then everyone else will value them, because they are not able to value themselves for what they stand really. They are trying to compete with something which is not their forte. And this big problem was there. And Srila Prabhupada, in many conversations, he discussed this issue. A few things we will address in this. So Chanakya Pandit says this again. Krishna, the supreme authority, and Chanakya Pandit, we accept him as some sort of Vedic authority in ethics and many fields he has given. So he gave the formula twice, four times, 6 times, and 8 times. In 4 aspects, at least the women, they are superior. They have the double digestive capacity than men. 4 times shy. Wow. 6 times more audacious, and 8 times they have this imagination or desire, or their sankalpa shakti, desire. Even it can be translated as lust or craving. They experience, they have the capacity to experience desire 8 times. So the hankering is very intense. So can you imagine the male have, they are no match to women. So if they are not controlled or suppressed, the coexistence between male and female would be impossible, because it would be totally matchless. They cannot compete with women. Male cannot compete with female. That's why in every culture they are always like a control put under so many restrictions, so that both male and female they can coexist. This is a big thing. If they can be suppressed, and this is how, because they're 4 times shy. They're 4 times shy, so whatever their desire is curtailed by 1/4, and audacity also by 1/4. This is how. But when they become unbridled, when they are left, they can become wild. So this is what Srila Prabhupada noticed in Western culture. When they go wild in their demeanor and they are uncontrolled in their, then men exploit them collectively, individually and collectively. Women become exploited when they become bereft, or when they become unaware, ignore their true nature. So what to do? To recognize that the emotional, they're by nature emotional. In a human being, in a male body, it's a conditioning. It's a conditioning that one wants to take the lead, and assert the authority. And then the conflict comes, because whether male body or female body, in the conditioned state, the dominating nature is there in both male and female body, because we, as the being, as the spirit soul, we have to be educated. We have to realize the nature or demeanor of the soul is not male. It is feminine. So those who are in the female body, they have natural advantage if they are spiritually inclined, to become spiritually inclined. And we see that in reality also, spiritually speaking, they are much ahead of those who are in the male body or male ego, especially male ego. Because see the number of participants in the spiritual, especially in Vedic culture, women are well trained and they participate tremendously in the spiritual gathering and all these things. But even from soul point of view, in idealism, the highest level of purest devotion, in the divine ladies, correct? The gopis lead all of us. Is the highest ideal of love and devotion. To attain Gopi Bhav is the highest aspiration of a soul. And to attain within the Gopi Bhav, to attain the Manjari Swarup or Radha Rashmi, Srimati Radharani is the supreme lady. Correct? And so we are hankering, our ultimate attainment is to find our subservience to Srimati Radharani. So what we are trying to say that psychologically, in the conditioned state, if the women are not suppressed, they have been used to being suppressed, they will go wild if they are left unbridled. And if they are suppressed too much, they will also again go wild. So there is always balance needed. We cannot suppress, because we find that too much suppression they cannot handle, and they just lose their brain compared to the male, because in a male body or male attitude. So we are not discussing here so much male body, female body. We are focusing on the nature of the soul and the adoption, the false adoption of being the supreme enjoyer of the male has caused trouble for all of us. We have to come out of it. So when ultimately we are discussing here the nature of a Vaishnava, behavior of a Vaishnava, his thought process compared to the one in the conditioned state. But from this male-female aspect, as Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, it depends on who identifies with what. So who is, the question ultimately is, who is more advanced spiritually? We are interested here to advance spiritually, correct? One who receives, who is more advanced? One who has realized his feminine feature, aspect, the true glory of the soul. Only he is more advanced. Because if in ignorance a man thinks he is superior as man compared to a woman, because he is still plagued by the false ego of the male or ego. And if a woman thinks merely because she is a woman, and so she has to fight, correct? She is no less than men because of her. This is also out of ignorance. This is what Srila Prabhupada meant. If any woman thinks that she is a woman, that means she is less intelligent. Right? That is where the point comes. If you think you are a woman, human means a woman means a person is a female body. But if you think of your feminine beauty of the soul, feminine glory of every soul, either in male body or female body, doesn't matter. So we have to find that connection of the soul. Then we can transcend this male-female duality, because ultimately, from absolute point of view, anybody who connects to the absolute vision, absolute nature, the conflict from absolute point of view, every one of us has the highest common interest, and that is to connect to the Supreme Absolute Krishna. So duality is a conflict of duality here. She is in conflict. She is not able to appreciate the wording of Chitraketu Maharaj, joking and it is his way of dealing with Lord Shiva, but she thought that it is. So duality in real sense means dual interest. Duality does not deny two. Is in the Mayavadis, they are two. Two is not a problem. They are saying, no? Prem gali ati sakari tame dona samay. They are saying in Hindi. The path of love is very, very narrow. And so tame, in that, though. So what is this two? Because the very concept of love necessitates more than one, correct? One does not love by oneself. Krishna also expands, Eko Bahushyam, because love is always like giving, because the joy, to experience the joy of giving is wonderful. And one who has experienced giving, then he becomes free from this exploitative mentality, because non-love consciousness, one is trying to get and exploit. So see the difference between Krishna's eternal realm compared to this realm of experience, where everybody is trying to exploit, everybody is trying to get and exploit others. So Krishna gives an opportunity through his pastime and lila here. Then we can identify our disease first, through these episodes, and then come out of it, connect to the absolute love realm. And that would be the perfection of our life. But the duality ultimately is the conflict of interest. Doesn't matter whether we are 100 beings or 1,000 beings. If the love unites, no, spirituality means love. It unites. The materiality divides, as we have heard many times. But when it comes to practical application, that's where we lack the realization. And because this is why this Bhagavad culture we experience that unity in our common interest of Krishna, who manifests as Sri Guru in our lives. So we can see that yes, if everybody loves Krishna as one aspires, one can love the spiritual master, because spiritual master also loves all his disciples, just as Krishna loves everyone. But the spiritual master, being situated on the absolute platform, he can be a tremendous attraction for all of us, all the disciples, all the not in fully evolved or fully spiritualized, fully purified state. And we can see, although individually amongst ourselves we can have sometimes conflicting, but on one point we can all be fully united, and that unifying factor, seeing that the spiritual master, the love of the spiritual master is our common interest. We can definitely overcome all the secondary, because it's like a package of passion, right? We have multiple passions, but one passion has to be the prominent. And in order to serve that passion, we can let go the passion of many things. So I like to do many things in 24 hours. Many things which are not the best thing I can say. But when it comes to the main passion for Krishna, for Sri Guru, I should be able to let go my pursuing other passions and my involving or engrossing or other things. So we have to uphold, stay with the main focus, main passion, the satisfaction of the spiritual master, which guarantees the satisfaction of Krishna. Ultimately, the sadhan and sadhya, they merge very mysteriously and very wonderfully. Bhagavatam says, Yat Sevaya Bhagavatas. Serving the spiritual master leads or poses Yat Sevaya Bhagavatas Kutastasya Madhudvisha Rati Raso Bhavet Tivra. Very, very fast. One experiences Rati Raso Bhavet Tivra Padar Vyasanadana. One experience very fast attraction and Rati for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the supremely beautiful entity. So this duality, the conflicts of interest, divisions, and all this fear and all these things, naturally when we have wholesome consciousness in unison with the supreme protector, supreme shelter, Krishna, then we become free from fear. So this duality leads to fear, and that's why Mayavadis, in their attempt to become free from duality, they just negate. They just say they want to avoid the two. They want to kill the two. No, duality is not bothered by two. Duality is not defined by how many people, entities are there. But if they don't have the common interest, there will be tremendous conflict, tremendous unpleasant atmosphere created. So there is one discussion between Yagnavalkya and Gargi. There was a discussion regarding on the platform of in search for the Supreme, right? And so the many questions towards the end, Gargi asked Yagnavalkya, well, we are talking very lofty philosophy, about love. And if the love is true, in true love, there is no duality. This is what Yagnavalkya emphasized. You may be in any situation, in any ashram. Basically, Gargi's argument was that how in a Grihastha ashram you can concentrate on the Supreme, because Grihastha ashram requires tremendous lot of distractions, lot of things, issues. So how can you dive deep into meditation or just becoming? How can you become fully absorbed in the absolute? And, Yajnavalkya said, if there is love for the Supreme, then these other things secondary, they will all become secondary. They won't create the conflict. So ultimate thing is, in whatever situations we might be, we have to identify and protect our primary or the spiritual passion for the Supreme, fulfillment of the spiritual master. Then our secondary obligations, our dharma, it won't create conflict to our param dharma. Rather, the dharma would be conducted only in becoming conducive to cause the fulfillment of our param dharma, that is the rati, that is utpade rati, increase our attachment to the divine supreme. So then Gargi asked, oh, you are giving all these things. Can you give some example, practical example, where this concept of love can be understood? So the Gargi said, Gargi, just open your eyes. Means, he was enlightening Gargi through this. Just open this eye, this world, this manifestation. Krishna has manifested this world. Is itself is an evidence of purest love. And what we observe in nature, if we observe in nature, nature is acting. Different aspects of nature. We as human beings, because this all education of Vedas and existence is meant for us so that we come out of duality, we can free ourselves from the conflicts of interest due to duality, and we can attain the absolute vision, then absolute action, absolute thought, absolute behavior, everything becomes conflict free, and we can coexist multitude of people. We can coexist very, very, very peacefully and all these things. So then he gives the example, especially of the sun. The Prakriti, the whole nature is kind of, it's not trying to exploit us. Rather, it is only offering us. Love is on, Prakriti is only offering us, not expecting anything in return, that is Nishkam Seva, is way demonstration. The sun rays, what they give the sun rays, the heat, the light. It falls on the earth, and it is not expecting anything in return from the earth. And the earth also relishing the blessing coming from the earth. She's not bothering that why are you giving heat and all these things. She just she doesn't demand anything from the sun. The earth only knows how to blossom with the grace of the sun. Right? That is nature. It's not trying to just the sun is not trying to lord it over the earth, nor is the earth is trying to say, oh, you are entering my zone unasked. Just get out. No. They appreciate each other's position in the Prakriti under the supreme subordination, or under the subordination of the Supreme. And so when multiple individuals, just as the sun or the earth, everybody, they know their role because they are united in their vision of subordination to the Supreme. So same vision can be incorporated in all of us. It's sadhakas and everything, because the only non-dual entity is Krishna, the all beautiful, the all attractive entity, and he is love. Love wants to expand, it wants to give. So when we appreciate Krishna's position, then in relation to him only, we can find our role as a giver to experience the bliss of loving. Krishna creates this material world just to facilitate that we can experience this giving rather than trying to exploit, which we have been doing since eternity, and we haven't found the ultimate resolve. This is Bhagavad culture, and we are trying to focus, we are trying to understand from the atmosphere from the surrounding through this help of Vedic literature and Vaishnavas, we can definitely achieve the status of becoming a pure Vaishnava ourselves. That would be a ultimate good not only to ourselves but also for the benefit of others. So, thank you very much, all the Vaishnavas. Please come forward to say or add something if you feel inspired, or any questions we can try to take up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaji. Thank you for
Hare
this
Krishna.
wonderful lecture.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah, it has given me some light, like how or why Prabhupada used to say that Matajis can serve their husbands, that is sufficient for them. So this subordination, training for subordination is there. Yeah, and yeah, I do have a question. Before that, our Shyam Kishore Prabhu is also have something. Prabhuji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavad Maharaj. Thank you Maharaj for so much of scriptural enlightenment and things to know which were not so much clear so many years. Thank you for that. So my question is a little bit 2 minutes. I would like to share some realization now, and if there is any clarification in that, so you please correct me. So thing is that as you said, this false ego is like it's male, like male tendency, and true ego is female, submissiveness and subordinate. So as we see in our lineage parampara, that our Goswamis or the Sad Goswamis or the Acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur or other Acharyas, they also descended like to enlighten, to lift the conditioned souls. So they came in the male body, but as we see the real identity, they are also a Manjari, like a Manjari or Gopi or like that. So we see that even though they had male body in this material world, but still that subordination, submissiveness, and as a servitor, now that mood is there, like that is like feminine. So that like it's we as a conditioned soul should understand these things or realize. That was my realization.
Yes, because that is the ultimate connection, supreme evolvement of the soul's fortune. It's a pinnacle, and that's why we appreciate Srimati Radharani's position as the supreme, because she is endowed with the most devotional demeanor. And is the Prakriti ourselves. You know, we are one of the energies, the Prakriti of the Lord. Radharani is the Mool Prakriti. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shakti Man. Radharani is the Purna Shakti. She is the source of all Shakti. So our Sajatiyata, our like-mindedness. Radharani is the leader, our natural leader. That's why our Goswamis say that we should not try to bother Krishna separately or independently. We should go through Srimati Radharani, because Srimati Radharani has perfectly, she has captured Krishna. So Krishna has become Radharani. So those who are truly interested to impress Krishna, they must become attached to the service of Srimati Radharani. So the worship of Krishna is together with Srimati Radharani. Krishna appreciates his the most. And that's why this attitude, this demeanor of the living entity in its pure state is feminine. And this masculine or this enjoy lording it over, correct? This lording mentality in the conditioned state only. That's why the false ego is male or masculine. It has to be gotten over. We have to transcend it. And ultimately, why I said this? Because so conclusion is the nature of the Krishna Bhakti. You know, it's a pure emotion. You know? It's a pure emotional. Emotion means internal. It's from the heart. So emotion, it expands. It wants to give. It wants to embrace. And, where is this? So in the conditioned state, our perennial this challenge we face, you know, because we are stuck with the intellect. And that's why the craving of the heart becomes blocked by our intellectual impasse, intellectual conditioning, if you want to say. That is, so what pure devotion does, it frees us, it helps us free ourselves from this intellectual impasse, intellectual thing. And that is the ultimate advancement. Lord Krishna says to Uddhavji in 11:19:1, Yo vidya shruti sampanna atmavan nanu manka maya matram idam gyatva jnanam cha mai sanyata. This faculty of knowing everything, knowledge or intellectualism, it just haunts us. It won't leave us because we have so much identified with it. We overlook the feminine aspect of our existence, the emotional. So pure emotion, just think of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu, the supreme male, he's attracted by this emotional aspect, the bhava of Srimati Radharani. What he does, you know, he sacrifices the rational aspect, you know, because ultimately when it comes to experience the love, the real nature of giving, when we experience, when we acknowledge, when we realize how much Krishna has given, how much Krishna has given since eternity, and we have ignored. Now it's our turn to just give rather than asking for more, giving more. So Mahaprabhu, what is Mahaprabhu? Mahaprabhu, he wants to, he just wants to sacrifice his rational to realize the emotional aspect of existence. Let rational be handled by Krishna, and let us find our true emotion of love. Appreciate those who are situated on the devotional, on the feminine nature of the soul, realized even while living apparently in this material realm. We must find those advanced Vaishnavas who have transcended the male or masculine ego in their demeanor, in their thought, in their actions, in their speech. That's where Lord Shiva stands out, you know, although he's not trying to lord over anyone. But Mother Parvati, although she is naturally supposed to be in subordination to her husband, but she thinks that she cannot stand, she cannot tolerate the behavior of another Vaishnava. She wants to take the lead. She acts like a male or masculine. That's why Srila Prabhupada writes that even in higher statuses, higher status means within these three realms of material existence, not in the absolute platform. Srila Prabhupada gives another example that there are accidents even on royal roads. But when this is not properly understood, royal roads are within this material world only, because there are no accidents in the spiritual world. There is no mishap. There is no wrong decision in the spiritual world. Nobody ever made any wrong decision in Krishna's realm, eternal realm. We have clear-cut direction from Srimad Bhagavatam, from the Vedas. Asatoma Sadgama. Give up this temporary and conflicting realm. Again, go for the eternal existence of enlightenment, of inexhaustible bliss, experiencing. That way we can appreciate. We must imbibe this, feminine, appreciate the feminine nature of the soul in its demeanor to serve the supreme divine couple, Shri Radha Shyam Sundar. That is the inspiration we must all sustain from the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. All right?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you for the explanation.
Yes, we have a question by Mataji. Yes, Mataji, please.
Pranam Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Welcome. Welcome for this participation. Hare Krishna. कहिए।
ऐसे कहा जाता है कि लेडीज का जो विचार है वो कम बुद्धिमान भी कहा जाता है और छोटा भी विचार करते हैं कहा जाता है। तो इसके कारण मतलब इसको मैं मानती भी हूँ और इसके कारण जैसे हम लोग एक कृष्ण भावनामय संस्था में रहते हैं, इसमें बहुत हर तरीका के लोग रहते हैं। तो इसमें मतलब मेरे जो लेडीज बुद्धि या फिर मतलब कम बुद्धिमान के कारण कभी कभी उस इतना बड़ा मतलब एक संस्था में मतलब मेरा विचार आने से तो कम बुद्धिमान विचार आने से तो इसमें बहुत प्रॉब्लम भी क्रिएट होते हैं कभी कभी। तो इसका मतलब क्या सॉल्यूशन थोड़ा और भी मतलब क्लियर होना चाहता है। लोग बहुत प्रॉब्लम आते हैं तो
भगवान हमें सहायता कर रहे हैं। ये प्रॉब्लम बिकॉज ये भौतिक जगत का है ना, भौतिक जगत का क्रिएशन है। लेकिन भौतिक जगत के क्रिएशन में एवरीथिंग इज अ बैड बार्गेन। हमारे श्रील प्रभुपाद जी और चाणक्य पंडित ये सभी कहते हैं वी हैव टू make the best of the bad bargains. Every bargain in the material, nothing is foolproof. कुछ न कुछ खटपट रह जाता। So sometimes people quote this shloka from Bhagavad Gita. It's 1840. न तदस्ति पृथिव्याम वा दिवि देवेषु वा पुनः सत्वं प्रकृति जैर मुक्त यदेभि शास्त्रभिर गुण। Oh, everything is tinged by the three modes of materiality. So Krishna says, yeah, neither in the heavenly planets on earth, nobody is free from the influence of three modes. So we can just find faults with everyone because nobody is, it's very easily, oh, yes, if I am not pure, so is no one else. But this is a very erroneous outlook. Because in this world, when Krishna has manifested, Krishna has fivefold manifestation. Even in this world, although no one in this material world is free from the effect of the three modes, but Krishna manifests Swayam Rupa through his incarnations, through his Paramatma in everybody's heart. His Alcha Vigraha, that is also absolute. and also as Sri Guru. Kripalu Purushakriti. So fivefold, 5 kinds Krishna manifests in this world, which is tinged with the 3 modes of material nature in these 5 forms. So these 5 forms are transcendental, correct? So is the process to attain them, the devotion. And one who is situated in devotion, the Bhakta or the Vaishnava, he is also transcendental. So regarding your question, ultimately we have to come to this platform of spirituality, where if we sustain our spiritual vision, then not only we will help ourselves, हम खुद को भी help करेंगे, बल्कि हमारे behavior को देख के दूसरों को भी inspiration मिलेगा. Ultimately, our spirituality or spiritual development, it has 2 purposes. Mahaprabhu says, we benefit ourselves, janma sarthak kari, and kara para upkar. Then we also become instrument. It's an instrument of Krishna to help others. In your surrounding, is a female or male. I personally think that those in spiritual journey, those who are, if they are enlightened, they have become awakened. Those in the spiritual, in the female body, they are at an advantage. There are many arguments back and forth can go, but just think of how much Krishna glorifies naturally the ultimate swarup of the living entity in the teachings of Mahaprabhu, Femina in the Manjari Bhava. It's natural for the ladies. So that's why Prabhupada say if the women they are propagandized as inferior or less and less, they should focus on the spiritual aspect, which is very natural to them. So why bother, which is anyway false, So this male ego is false ego. One can more easily come out of the trap of false ego in a female body. And Vedic culture is designed, okay, you have this capacity, and if you take the center, the ladies are the center of the household life of the society or the existence. When they are well controlled, or they are very nicely protected, then they can create, or they can provide wonderful atmosphere for everyone else to grow. Ladies have to be respected, honored, to find the divine blossoming of life and its experiences. Otherwise, as we see in the Western culture, women become the object of exploitation rather than the object of honor, and the whole society goes suffers. So Prabhupada directly took this and he enlightened all his lady disciples. If you think you are a woman, in woman body, then yes, you are inferior. So that was very enlightening. But so in that light, we can appreciate Srila Prabhupada's teaching. Yes, to think that I am less intelligent, it's a great enlightening thing, because then we can focus on Krishna, the most intelligent, the most beautiful, most attractive. The only problem comes when one thinks that I'm more intelligent or no less intelligent than others, correct? See the point. ठीक है माता जी.
जी महाराज जी, हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. All right,
We have 2 more questions.
okay.
Amrita ji, please unmute yourself.
Pranam Shri Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It's a wonderful lecture, and so many things are here today that ladies especially the pure ego and false ego. That's beautiful. That pure ego is feminine and false ego is male. That means in the behavior of Parvati, the false ego is manifested here, and so that is that which I want to ask, and that also that a woman is always, as you told, that women are more superior in everything, like 6 times more in digestive, 4 times in shy nature, in everything. But though they are suppressed as a less intelligent. So as you told that because it's not possible if you are not suppress them to match them. This is the reason, and this is the reason that I want to ask, and also that everyone, that whether it's men or women, all have their internal nature. They are feminine, but nobody
Pure nature, not
realize.
pure in the soul nature. In the nature of the soul is.
Yes, then soul nature, but they do not realize now that their nature, the soul nature. So why why this is the discrimination, that only devotees, only the pure devotees realizing their soul nature, and the common men are not able to realize. And the other thing which you said, that all the things, especially earth, nature, sun, they support each other for their common reason. So we should also, that's also very beautiful. And one more things I want to say, that yes,
Let me give an
as you said,
answer
okay,
to this question, because women are made more powerful for this survival thing, because they create life, they sustain life. So just to facilitate, they are made the way they are made. There's a reason for it, because and otherwise they will be totally mishandled. But they need to be protected. They become wild, unbridled, and also suppress too much. Suppression we see in the society over the women. To some extent, it is for their good, because as we say that if they are endowed with such a superior tendency compared to men, the coexistence between male and female would be impossible. Can you imagine? I'm just give a very gross example. How much any man can handle women? It's impossible. So the shyness is created. A woman can never be satisfied from bodily pleasure point of view. So a male becomes exhausted immediately. But women have the capacity. She can raise children, progeny and everything. So the whole idea is the capacity is given in her, and that has to be honored. In Vedic culture, has always honored the women. So much handling of male is just he walks out just for earning and everything, but the whole system is handled by the women. So without the women, life or the material existence or the family life, even if you want to say, but most people have to live in family life. And so women takes the pivotal role. That is said apart, but ultimately in spiritual culture, through this Bhagavad study, what we are trying to say, that we must transcend this duality, the conflict of male-female aspect in observing one. Rather, we should be able to see the demeanor of the pure soul is the feminine nature, which is in every human being. Every human being is endowed with its nature of the soul, which is to serve. And so as long as the people in the male body are taking the lead, if they facilitate the the serving of others, that is good, because eventually, whether in male body or female body, we end up serving only. That is our eternal nature. We think that we are the master, or we are the boss, or we are the enjoyer. We are enjoyed by others, mutually exploited by one another. So where is the question of so this Bhagavatam helps us to find the solace and not not be in conflict with our due to our male ego, or the wrong ego or false ego. So that is the point. So it's a subject of great contemplation, because if we try to sort out and find solution on the material platform, there is no end to it. To come and appreciate our spiritual nature and spiritual demeanor of the soul, that is the only solution. That's why we are not discussing Bhagavatam as like something on the material platform trying to find solutions. Spiritual vision is the only solution. Okay. What's the second question?
Thank you. And second question is, as you told that when there is a passion for spiritual master, and it leads to the passion to a divine couple, and it becomes the primary passion, and all the other becomes the secondary.
Yeah, they are not in conflict, because primary passion, or the passion can be only for one thing. You cannot maintain the patience for two. The primary passion will take over, and in favor of primary passion, all other secondary passions can be sacrificed. No, that's the point. Right?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Mother Krishna Prabhu, please.
Oh, Madhur Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Wow, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. What a
Yes,
most
Maharaj,
beautiful
my
name.
question. Thank you so much for this wonderful class and bringing in this wonderful perspective of the position of women in our Vedic culture, and how one has to treat women in a society, or at least in our Krishna conscious society. That gave a very good perspective. But in the similar light, if you look at this Sloka 9.32 in Bhagavad Gita, where it says Striya Vaishitata Sudras, the sloka goes like that. Normally this sloka is discussed in a different perspective, so I would like you to throw some light on that. And my second thing is, can we draw parallels between the femininity that is discussed in the spiritual world, or that's present in the spiritual world, and the femininity that is being discussed in the material world?
Well, that's beautiful. In the Vedic instructions, sometimes the context and perspective is different. That's why, like in Bhagavad Gita, there is an injunction that Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna Paradharma Bhayavat. Maharaj also quoted that. So when we say Parodharma and Paradharma, Param Dharma is common. Param Dharma is of the soul. So when there's another instruction that Krishna says that those who are on the lower consciousness, the person on the higher conscious should not disturb him. He should not disturb him by saying that all karma is Maya and all entangled. But that is when talking on the platform of Jnana in Bhagavatam, teachings of Rishabdev and other also, I don't have a reference in front of me, where it is described that a person from devotional point of view, if you can if you can infuse the devotional vision in any conditioned soul, then we better disturb him out of his material entanglement and just connect him to the devotional platform, if that is possible. Instructions. And when Krishna is actually, in one sense, encouraging the ladies and anybody who feels oppressed or feeling deprived or anything, from social point of view, those who take shelter of him, that they can also. So they are not, from spiritual point of view, as far as spiritual perfection concerned in human form of life, doesn't matter whether he's a woman or a Brahmin or Shudra or anything. Anyone who takes to this absolute path of pure devotional service, he is not at disadvantage, correct? So when we talk about disadvantage or advantage, it is only materially speaking. But when one becomes awakened spiritually, then so-called disadvantage is or advantage is it doesn't matter. So Krishna is emphasizing the so-called disadvantage is, should not become the excuse on the part of the ladies or those who are in lower social status, because awakening matters. When spiritual awakening is there, then external situations of whether male, female, or Brahmin, Kshatriya, foreigner or white body, or that's why Srila Prabhupada, he so much emphasized on this, spiritual awakening, that you are not this material body, you are the spirit soul. And where does it matter whether one is born in Indian body or American body or Brahmin body or Shudra body? Or, due to lack of spiritual awakening, all this, want to use the word dichotomy, the word dichotomy in English, all this conflicting interests and trying to exploit, someone complains that I'm exploited, and a person who wants to exploit, he wants to exploit more, and he thinks that because he has not exploited enough, so he justifies his exploiting others. So all this duality and conflict interest continue until we become awakened to our spiritual eternal nature in subordination of the Supreme. That way we can appreciate. All right,
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, thank you, Maharaj. My second thing was, can we draw direct parallels between the femininity discussed in the spiritual world, or sorry, prevailing in spiritual world, to the femininity that we discussed in the material world?
Could you repeat? I couldn't get the format of the question. Could you repeat?
Can we draw parallels between the femininity that is present in the spiritual world to that of a material world that is present in
Well,
or that is being discussed?
The thing is, because on a material platform, everybody is trying to exploit the other. So, female body and a male body, this is where the strong identification. A person in a female body, she also acts as male with a male ego, exploiting ego. So that's why if one accepts one's role is in subordination or is a cooperative, rather than it's more like a complementary, complementary to each other to survive and grow in a material existence. But ultimate thing to appreciate. That's why the spiritual realm is exposed to us. It's ideal nature. It's a wholesome nature. It's absolute nature where there is no conflict of this male-female ego. Because everybody appreciates Krishna is the supreme or the only male. Ekala Ishvara Krishna. And the supreme male has to be only one. The conflict comes when there is more than one male. So person in a female body, she thinks that she's the boss. Then they have become two Ishwaras. Ishvara cannot exist, cannot be by very definition more than one. So in the absolute realm, that duality does not exist, because everybody actually thrives through this acknowledgement, and they want only one man, one Ishvara, one boss, and they are in total क्या बोलते हैं, समाधान, in total resolve with their role is the feminine nature, subservient or serving mood. That is the intrinsic eternal nature. Jivera Swarupai Krishna Nitya Das. Everybody is fully saturated, fully settled in their free will usage also in the spiritual world. Nobody ever violated. So the misuse, because there is no possibility of misuse of free will, because it is not critical there in the spiritual world. So all the modifications and corrections we need here. We want to catch up to the spiritual standard, absolute standard. So we have the ideal presented to us, and when the spiritual master comes and demonstrates the absolute demeanor, no conflict, no exploitation, then we are raised to that consciousness whereby we become qualified to attain the absolute realm. So all these dualities demonstrated on this realm, because there are multiplicity of Ishwaras here. So we can all acknowledge when we follow this Bhagavat culture, we accept the Ishwarness or Ishwarta of our common master, Sri Guru. And that way we become free from this conditioning of being the master. This is how one becomes freed from this consciousness plague. And that connection to the spiritual master is the sphere of my life and soul. Then it connects me to the absolute realm for all time, because I have appreciated the position of the spiritual master as our Lord and Master. We all qualify to attain the absolute platform of our eternal existence. All right.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Right, Shyam Kishore.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaji.
Sanatan Prabhu, yes. All right, you wanted to say something in the beginning. I think you said little bit. That's fine.
Yeah, Maharaji. Yeah, it might be not apt thought, or it is my speculation. That's it. So, but anyway, I just express it. Maybe if you feel fine to address, you can address. Otherwise, you can leave it also. Yeah. So it is not at my level also, but yeah. So yeah, there are gopis present, and every gopi is having their own Krishna in front of them. Can any of the gopis get the feeling that okay, the other Krishna is better, why don't I go to that Krishna, or by leaving the Krishna who is in front of her?
Yeah, because Krishna with Radharani is the supreme. There is the exposure given by Mahaprabhu. That if you want the
full blossom manifestation of Krishna. It is in when he is with Radharani, correct? Akhila Rasamrita Murtihi. So Krishna's full blossom swarup, or his form is manifest. Akhila Rasamrita Murti. Krishna becomes fully blossom when in that's why Mahabhav Swarup is Radharani. So when Krishna is in with Srimati Radharani, then Krishna's manifestation of his beauty and everything is full-faced. So if any gopi wants to experience Krishna in the fullness, then she is advised to attain the subservience of Srimati Radharani. That's why even within Gopi Bhava, the ultimate is to attain the Manjari Bhava, where they are so devoted to the service of Radharani's lotus feet, and they experience Krishna's fully blossomed beauty because of their subservience and loyalty of Srimati Radharani. Radharani doesn't mind them even when she is with Krishna. Compared to other gopis who are on the equal platform as the Naika of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme Nayak. Nayak means the male. No? The gopis are the feminine. So there are different aspects. So if any gopi thinks that Krishna with one who is with Radharani is more attractive, that is her fortune. And she can transcend her independent or separate conjugal attraction to Krishna, towards Krishna. And she can find the fulfillment of her heart when she observes Krishna in union with Srimati Radharani. And the same thing Mahaprabhu has come to offer to all of us living entities. So can you imagine the kind of ultimate pinnacle of fortune being offered to the most downtrodden conditioned souls like this material world? So Krishna is not holding back anything, because when Mahaprabhu became overwhelmed experiencing through Radha Bhav Krishna's beauty, then Mahaprabhu wants to say, yes, all living entities you should because unlimited treasure Mahaprabhu experienced. So if he offers and distributes unlimited treasure of experiencing Krishna to the living entities, he is not deprived, he is not diminished in his experience. So so he's offering. So for all of us, we can aspire, and that's why Mahaprabhu's teaching said that not only we have the highest regard for the love of the gopis for Krishna, but also the indispensability of taking shelter of Radharani's lotus feet if you want to experience Krishna to the fullest extent. So that's why a very interesting question you posed, that one gopi feeling that the Krishna with other gopi is more attractive. Definitely, Krishna is most attractive in association with Srimati Radharani. I think.
Yeah, Maharaj. So you meant to say like we should serve the eternal servitor, or
Yeah, because our ultimate purpose of attaining Krishna is to please Krishna, correct? Then how much is our capacity to please Krishna? If we really want to please Krishna, then we must find out who pleases Krishna the most. Srimati Radharani, correct? So it is then one sacrifices one's tendency that I want to be enjoyed by Krishna. That is also not the highest consciousness. Although our philosophy says that since we are part and parcel of Krishna, we are meant for Krishna's enjoyment, correct? But we cannot force Krishna to enjoy us. What if Krishna doesn't want to enjoy with us? Would it make us miserable? But we must find out who gives most enjoyment, most satisfaction, where Krishna is most fulfilled, feels most fulfilled, in association with Srimati Radharani. So then one sacrifices one's craving to be enjoyed by Krishna. Because how much enjoyment Krishna can have with me, I don't have. How much is my capacity to please Krishna independently? But when we recognize that this Parama Gopi, Srimati Radharani, oh, she gives the highest, complete, unlimited satisfaction to Krishna, then Radharani fulfills our purpose, correct? She fulfills our purpose. We want to please Krishna, and Radharani does the work. So then we must demonstrate, but we must demonstrate our subordination, our subservience to Srimati Radharani. If we truly love Krishna, I want to be enjoyed by Krishna. That should not be our mood. Because what if Krishna doesn't want to enjoy with us? And how much Krishna is supremely independent. He has unlimited choice. So can he have someone else over me to find his enjoyment? Would it make me miserable? But if I insist that no, I want to be enjoyed by Krishna, Krishna may reciprocate, but that may not be the highest satisfaction for Krishna. So if we see from, if we really love Krishna, if we really, then we should be very considerate of what will please Krishna the most. And that's why Mahaprabhu is coming and giving us connection to Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. If we become loyal and attached to her service, then we will be able to experience Krishna's beauty, Krishna's full satisfaction through Radharani, rather than independent of Radharani, rather than individually associating with Krishna. So that's why within Gopi Bhava, the highest pinnacle of fortune of Gopi Bhava is this Radha Dasya Manjari Bhava, in which one gets to experience Krishna on the same level as Radharani without becoming Radharani. You got the point? There's a aspect. Radharani is unique. When we become subservient to her, we become attached to her service. We experience which we would have never experienced if we try to approach Krishna independently, associate and embrace Krishna and enjoy. Even if Krishna enjoys with us as we may have aspired, but that wouldn't be the most pleasing to Krishna. So then I would defer my trying to please Krishna personally, individually, to Radharani's connecting to Krishna. So that is the mood of the Manjaris. They are not hankering to be enjoyed by Krishna. They always making endeavors to unite Radharani with Krishna. And in that endeavor, they get to experience the highest manifestation of Krishna's beauty, his satisfaction. All right?
Yeah, thank you, Maharaji. So, as a sadhaka, can I take it in this way that, like, if my spiritual master is more pleased by someone else's service, so
Beautiful.
is it better to assist him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Then I can become subservient to him who is able to please the spiritual master more. That would that make the spiritual master less pleased with you? No. He will be in thrill. Yes. He so joyfully acknowledges the more advancedness or the special status or special qualification of other God brothers, because common interest is to please the spiritual master. So whichever way we are able to accomplish that, that should be, rather than, oh, spiritual master should be only pleased through my way only. No, that is not the wholesome. That is not a spiritual vision actually. The spiritual vision means to unite to accomplish the common goal. So it is not the common goal is through my way or whichever way it comes, we submit to it. So when we see that spiritual master is showing a special interest, even apparently to someone else, we join, we glorify him. So yes, the spiritual master, our common mission is to see the satisfaction and joy of the spiritual master. If somebody stands out, we glorify him, and that our glorifying that person will definitely make us no less blessed by the spiritual master. That is the surest way of becoming fully blessed by the spiritual master, showing that the spirit of appreciating others is more than oneself. Yeah, it is a subject of great contemplation, but in the spiritual realm, this is what is always appreciated. Everyone is appreciating the other person more than oneself. Even if, and whenever the desire to please Krishna or Srimati Radharani that way, then every arrangement is made, because there is nothing in the earth. You know, everything is, whatever is willed, it becomes fulfilled, because there every will is absolute. There the thought of pleasing the divine couple is ruling the consciousness of every being, every gopi, if you want to call it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Yes, Maharaj, we can conclude.
Okay, Vancha Kalpataru
This namo.
जय श्री श्रीपाद गुरु महाराज की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, समावेश निताय गौर भक्त निताय गौर।
हरि हरि बोल।
Thank you all for joining. Thank to all for patiently waiting for this long, and thank you Maharaj for sparing extra time. See you all in tomorrow's class. Hare Krishna. His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Govind Maharaj ki jai.
गौर भक्त की जय, निताय गौर।